Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are doing a bag check. When I first got into Team Figgins, my first bag check kind of just wasn't set, but now after trying all these discs out, I know exactly what I like and what I like to throw in my bag. So let's get into it. So we'll start off simple. We'll start off with my putters. I use the Luna to putt. I have 3 of them. I have 1 Jawbreaker practice round putter and 2 Team Figgins putters. Funny story about this one, our other team member on the team, Ethan, putts with the same exact one as me. And anytime we're like in a tournament, like practice putting, we'll throw them and like we'll practice with them, and we never know whose is whose, so I had to write my name on this one. Next up is all my approach discs. I carry 3 other approach discs, one kind of being a putter. We'll start with the Zone. I think mostly everyone has this in their bag unless you're sponsored by somebody. This disc is just incredible for just kind of just laying up shots or just trying to park a shot and get somewhere with it. Next one is my Prodigy A3. This one is a whole lot beefier, so more overstable than the Zone. So if I need more of an overstable shot and something that will kind of just end a little quicker, I'll go with this guy. Then I got the Envy. This one, kind of funny story. Last week I literally found this on the ground at one of our local courses, no name, no number, and I'm like, wow, what a gold mine to find. I haven't thrown this that much, but I already know it's gonna go in the bag because it's sick. Now let's get into the mid-ranges. So I carry 5 mid-ranges in my bag. First one being the newly discovered Hex. I got this disc when we were reviewing it earlier in a previous video that we made. Make sure you guys go check that out. I didn't really like it then, but then I just started throwing it more, and I just realized how good of a disc it is to have in your bag, and I just love it how straight it can be. It's like a slower crave basically. It's insane. Next up is my Z Meteor. This is another disc that I found on the course. I've actually found this up in North Carolina, kind of just laying on the course randomly. No name, no number. Tried it out for the first time and I absolutely loved it. Great glide to it. So this one most people probably don't have in their bag. This is the Jawbreaker Buzz Gt. Not Banger GT, but the Buzz GT. So if you look, there's a little indent in the middle there. This one can kind of just handle my off-axis torque, as everyone tells me. This disc is basically a Buzz, except it has a little indent for your thumb right here. Next is another gem that I found at a store up in North Carolina, is my Discmania C-Line MD3. I threw it only a couple times up in North Carolina and I absolutely fell in love with it. Pretty stable, a little more on the overstable side, but it kind of will just hold any line that you put it on. Next up is the Prime Burst Truth. This thing is just fun to throw. I mean, that's all I really gotta say about this. Now let's get into the fairways. So first up on the Fairway Driver line of mine, rounds on runs, we have the Axiom Crate. This is one of my favorite discs in the bag. It's so straight. Mine's actually a little more on the overstable side than on the understable side. Previous crate that I had that I lost in North Carolina, it was probably more on the understable side. It would flip up nicely and just glide for forever. This is definitely a very good disc to have in your bag. Next up is the Latitude 64 Explorer. Actually my signature disc, the Danos Productions Special. Once I got them, I fell in love with them so fast. Not just because they're my signature disc or anything, but they flew so well. I can just put this flat and it'll just go. Next up is the Dynamic Disc Maverick, my other signature disc, part of my line on teamfiggins.com/danozpro. Go get one today. This thing basically similar to the Explorer, except this one will flip up a little more. So if you put on hyzer, it'll just flip up and glide maybe a little further. Next up is the Mint Discs Jackalope. This is probably one of those discs that a lot of people don't know about, but highly recommend. It was my favorite disc in the bag for a while until I kind of beat it in a little too much. Super understable. It'll hold basically any turnover line you will put it on. And it'll kind of just like slowly fade back so you get a nice finish at the end. Now probably one of my favorite discs in the bag. I'm going to say that a lot in this video. This is my Axiom Insanity. Basically a faster crave. Maybe a little more flippy, but it's just so nice to have in the bag. It's such a good disc. Next up, I have my Discraft Esp Raptor. It's overstable. Next up is my Infinite Disc Drew Gibson Signature Scepter. Very similar to the Raptor. It basically just has a little less glide to it. Now for the distance drivers. Now this is probably the newest addition to my bag. This is my brand new Surge SS. I actually found this in a store local to us, and I thought this was a solid find. Threw it in the field, fell in love with it. Now for my Avenger Ss. Avenger Ss, it'll flip up, good for rollers. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it, except it's Avenger Ss. I love it. Next up is my Infinite Disc G Blend Maya. This is my flippy boy in the bag. Very similar to the Jackalope in a way, except it'll probably flip a little more maybe, and it'll go a little further. Maybe not as much flip now I'm thinking about it, but it's just such a fun disc to have in the bag. Next up is my Axiom Neutron Vanish. These things are just insane. I can literally throw this anywhere. If I had one disc in the bag to throw, it'd be this one probably. So next up is my very limited first run Scorch. This thing's super good, very similar to the Vanish a little bit. I think it's honestly a little more understable than my Vanish, even though the Vanish is a -3 turn and this one's a -2. Both are absolutely crushers in my bag. I think I could probably throw this the furthest out of all my discs, surprisingly. Another pretty new addition to my bag is my big Z Thrasher. I actually had an ESP Team Figgins Open Thrasher in my bag previously. I lost it. It was a sad day for me.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I replaced it with this big Z Thrasher that just recently came out. Such a good disc to have in my bag. This is my ESP Team Figgins Open Force. It's like a faster Raptor. It's pretty overstable, good for headwinds. Now for some of my favorite discs in the bag, my Zeus. One big Z, one ESP. This one's actually 170, 172, so it's going to be a little more understable than this one's going to be a 173, 174. Both of these are absolutely essential to have in the bag though. This one will glide a little further, I find, but this one will have a little more fade to it at the end. I kind of fell in love with these a few weeks ago, even though I've probably had this one for a while, but just never knew how to throw it till now. Now for my absolute baby. This is my Latitude Edition Tour Series Swirl Nuke SS. It's a nuke, except it will flip up on you. It's so good. I almost lost this the other day and I almost cried, not gonna lie. But this thing is just so good. Any long distance shot, I'm probably throwing this. Now, similar to the Nuke SS, this is my nuke. Just more of a stable version of the Nuke SS basically. This is the second most overstable disc in my bag. My Nuke OS. I have every single nuke in my bag. Nuke SS, Nuke, and now Nuke OS. Pretty cool, right? This is the meat hook. There's a massive headwind like a hurricane off coast of Florida. I'm gonna throw this. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, my Discmania Meta Tilt. Well guys, I think that's really it for my in the bag, except I have a few water bottles to carry with me while I play, a towel or so, and a few minis, and that's about it. So really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys see any of these discs that I talked about in my bag today, make sure you head over to teamfiggins.com and see if we have any in stock. If we don't, make sure you sign up for the newsletter, put your email in there so we can notify you anytime when we get new discs in. Peace out, and we'll see you in the next one.